Welcome to the next installment in my video lecture series for International Economics. And in this particular video lecture, I'm just going to give you a brief overview of week number one. So you just have an idea how to properly address the upcoming week and be prepared. Make sure you realize that I have identified this week as of slightly higher intensity, not in terms of how much work you have to do or the level of difficulty of the work, that this first week only has 6 days. So I kind of label this higher intensity mostly due to the fact that it's a truncated week. So realize that you have one fewer day to complete the work, and that in itself the assignments that you're given aren't that difficult. But I just wanted you to be aware that I identified it as being slightly higher in intensity, mostly because of the fact that it's a day, the work week for you is a day shorter. Also, I wanted to point out to you that the Chapter 1 homework and the Chapter 2, the Getting Started homework and the Chapter 1 homework aren't really that difficult. There's not any major concepts there. But realize that Chapter 2 jumps, not a lot, but a little bit in terms of the level of difficulty with the work. So I just want you to guard against getting complacent. If you do the Getting Started homework and the Chapter 1 homework and you go, this is easy, this is a piece of cake, I'll wait until Sunday, or wait till the last minute to do Chapter 2, that would be a big mistake. So don't think that just because the Getting Started and the Chapter 1 homework are relatively easy, that Chapter 2 is going to be just as easy. It is not. So make sure that you're aware of that and you don't get complacent. Also, with the week number 1 quiz, I point out to you that if you take the first attempt and you're not really satisfied with how you did on it, make sure that you go into it in review mode and use the question help drop-down menu. All right, if it's a question that's particularly a problem, you will be able to see a step-by-step walkthrough of how to address the question. If it's just a multiple choice question that it just involves reading the chapter, you can click on the e-text, and the e-text, that particular section of the chapter, will pop up for you. So make sure you avail yourself of that. You get 2 attempts on the quizzes. So after that first attempt, if you're not happy with it, make sure that you use that question help drop down menu. That will be available to you in review mode. Also, I recommend that when you go through the questions, that the questions that you got wrong, if you notice a particular pattern, for example, if in week 1 you notice that most of the questions that you got wrong were for Chapter 2, then go and use the study plan and work the study plan that's available in my Econ Lab for that chapter. Or if you notice that they were all in one chapter and a particular section, just work that particular section of the chapter that you're having difficulty with. And after you finish that, make sure, and then you can retake the quiz, and whichever of the 2, the first or second attempt, are the highest, will count towards your grade. The other thing I want to point out to you, and be aware of this, that the next week, week number 2, is very intense. It's quite technical. We cover a great deal of the theoretical components of international trade. So I want you to be aware of that ahead of time. So I would strongly recommend that, because it's the first week of the semester, that you do your best to finish the work in week number 1 early. And once you finish that, you can send me a request and I'll open up the week number 2 assignments for you so you can start on them. All right, I try to have that flexibility for you. I also pointed out in the previous video that I tried my best to try and make the weeks roughly the same, but for continuity purposes, and I also had to incorporate the time that you needed to spend on the case study / forums for the course. So it really made it very difficult to keep each week the amount of work and the intensity exactly the same. So there is a little bit of variability, but because of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the overview and tell you ahead of time which weeks are probably going to be a little bit more work for you, and then allow you to get the work done from the previous week early. So if you want some extra time to work on the more difficult weeks, that is available to you.